quite a story. And the rationale for the event here today, I think, has already been underscored. Now, to accord words of welcome and initiate the formal part of this special program is the incumbent and indeed the founder president of CMA Sri Lanka, Professor Lakshman R. Watawala, who of course is no stranger. He's a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. He's a fellow member of the Institute of Certified Management Accountants of Sri Lanka, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants of the UK, Chartered Global Management Accountant, or CGMA, and fellow of the Institute of Chartered Professional Managers of Sri Lanka. But that's not how he started. He started 50 years ago, and so we might refer to this event also as a celebratory event. It is a golden jubilee of his entering into this profession. And records have it that he started as an articled clerk at Turkin Young Chartered Accountants, now known by a different name, Ernst & Young, and then qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 1972. And of course, he did secure all of those other qualifications that I mentioned at the beginning. But what is also important is that he was a necessary achiever in different spheres and was eager to be able to take the name of Sri Lanka and the profession also forward to other realms or standards of stature. So one of the perhaps interesting and important things was the instrumentality that he had with the formation of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, or SAFA, at a time when he was the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. So while holding that office, he was a signatory and initiated the process of forming that South Asian Federation, and then was elected in 1982 as the second president of that organization, namely SAFA. And he was installed within the Hall of Fame of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka in recognition of at least some of those achievements, and was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by CMA Sri Lanka as well. Now, also with regard to recognizing all of the service that was provided over a long period of time, over these 5 decades, shall we say, or parts thereof, he was also bestowed with a titular national honor, Sri Lanka Sikhamani, conferred by the President of Sri Lanka. That was in 2019. And I think people remember a time previous to that too, when Professor Watawala served as Chairman and Director General of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka. And during his tenure there, he was part of that very exciting program that was begun at that time, known as the 200 Garment Factories program, which and then made it possible for Sri Lanka to aspire to doing better with regard to securing much needed foreign exchange. That was always and has been a shortage of that. But that particular institution of the 200 Garment Factories program was one key thing that helped to leverage towards securing that foreign exchange. And also, apart from everything else, one of the important things that might be mentioned here and with relevance is the turning around of a loss-making state institution to become a profit-making, viable institution. And that was when he was Chairman and Managing Director of the State Mining and Mineral Development Corporation. So the essence of proper management, I think, has been understood and underscored with what I just mentioned. And there are other achievements as well. He has served as the president of the Association of Management Development Institutes in South Asia, which is AMDISA, currently board member of SAFA and chairman of the International Relations Committee therein. And what is interesting also is that he has served in the private sector and also committed time and energy in public service. I'll say no more, but invite Professor Lakshman Watawala to the lectern now to deliver some necessary words of welcome and perhaps expand on the relevance of today.
Good evening to all of you. In fact, we were very worried at the beginning because of what was happening today, but I'm sure that all of you who are really live wires and those who are engaged with the accounting profession and supporting CMA, I must first of all thank all of you for your kind presence because it was really something that people thought that it will not happen, but you really made it happen. So thank you very much to all of you who are present today. Today we have our chief guest. I'm sure he is known to all of you, Professor Ho Yu Ki. I think he's been with us, I'm sure, for more than a decade, engaged with CMA Sri Lanka, and he is the Professor of Accounting and Associate Provost, Skills, Future and Staff Development of the Singapore Institute of Technology, and the former Professor of Accounting of the National University of Singapore, and is also the Chairman of the CMA Sri Lanka Academic Advisory Board, and also serves on our Advisory Council. So I think it's a very fitting occasion that we had Professor Ho Yu Ki with us. I know that it's been a very hard, he just come back from some important meetings from Australia, but he's here with us. So thank you, Professor Ho. I think you are really one of the people who have given a lot of inspiration to us, contributed much to the development of CMA, and your presence here is something that we really appreciate. Not only me, but I think everyone who is present here. Then we have our Vice President, Mr. Hennayaka Bandara, who really took the name of CMA to the South Asian region. Of course, we've been involved with them, but he was the immediate past president of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, which not only gave the recognition and the honor to CMA Sri Lanka, and he really played a vital role in working with the South Asian accountants who are here. So thank you very much, Mr. Hennayaka. Of course, you always been there with us and supporting all our activities, and we are very happy that you are here today. Then we also have our council members. I must thank all of them for the great support they have given, because whatever that you see here is also the support and the cooperation that they have given us. Of course, I must make special mention of the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, Mr. Sanjay Bandara. I think the Institute is a place that we really had our foundation, and that made us expand the accounting profession, because it was during my time as President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. Of course, mention was made of SAFA, but in the Sri Lanka arena, where we set up the Association of Accounting Technicians, or AAT Sri Lanka. I think that's something which was new, and I must tell you that at that time, the ADB was prepared to give us a loan of US dollars 800 million. But I must tell you, we started it without a cent, because the Chartered Institute, although I had the the members appointed to it and the council, they did not give me money, they did not give me office space, they did not give me any staff. But the training that I had as the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants for 4 years gave me the determination, the strength to start this body. Because I knew that we were going on a course that will really help the younger generation in this country, and also to bring the rural children into the chartered accounting field. So we were able to, my good friend, Mr. Manoharan, he told me, don't worry, I will give you a small room, and I don't know whether people in the OPA know this. At that time we had what was called we formed the OPA International company, and that company I was also a director. Mr. Manoharan gave me a small room. So I think OPA, I don't know whether the president is here, but I know that the other members are here, and they were really instrumental in giving us that room to form this body. So these are things that are not there in the history, but I thought that I should tell because we need to, I'm sure Mr. Sanjay Bandara will take the opportunity to write the history as to how this came into being. So that's a good thing. Then of course thereafter, I was instrumental in setting up of CMA Sri Lanka. As you know, Chartered did not want to get involved in it. So I, as a chartered accountant, all the initial council members are all chartered accountants. So Mr. Sanjay, you must be proud that all chartered accountants gathered together to form the management accounting body, which was not there in Sri Lanka. At that time, we could not depend on the foreign bodies. As we just celebrated 75 years of independence, I think this is the biggest achievement I can think that we have made after independence, to form a body which is now locally and globally recognized member of IFAC. So in fact the AAT is also a member of IFAC, so you can be proud that we have 3 accounting bodies that are today members of the International Federation of Accountants, a global body. Then we have also our distinguished invitees, and of course special mention of our consultants team led by Dr. Nuan, and team who are really responsible for this evening, that what we are doing today, the launching of the CMA Sri Lanka new syllabus. So ladies and gentlemen, members and other supporters of CMA, let me welcome you to this event. So as you know that this is the launch of CMA Sri Lanka new syllabus. I must also say that the last, maybe the launch that was in 5 years back, 2018 I suppose, now it's 2023, and there too we had the great honor of Professor Ho, who was the one who really was the chief guest and the keynote speaker. So he is someone who's involved in the education area, and I think the most fit person to come and guide us, and also being a part of our own institute, we are indeed thankful to him. So as you know, everyone is talking of future ready accounting profession. That's what we are looking at. And I know that IFAC has been doing quite a lot of work on this. The other institutes have been doing. So everyone is wanting to prepare accountants for the future. And this would mean that we need to equip current and future professional accountants with skills, capabilities, ethical behavior required for an evolving business environment. Some of them think that only the competency is required. No, I think today ethical behavior is of great importance. Today everywhere we hear of corruption. mismanagement, we need to get rid of it, and I'm sure the management accountants, the future management accountants, will be able to show the way as to how we can take it forward. The accountancy profession needs to show the younger generation that accounting is an exciting and dynamic opportunity. Today we find that very many of them are going to different areas. Sometimes they think that the accounting profession is too difficult or too hard, because we are not only concerned with the education area, but also the skill development, where they need to get the practical experience. If not for that, today we will not be able to make all these achievements. So that's something that everyone should bear in mind, because those who are trained in the accounting profession are job ready. They will get an employment, not only in Sri Lanka, but also overseas. But people think that if you want to do something, you have to work hard, and that's how we have achieved all these things. A dual focus on technology and people development. Now that's today the future accountant, the technology and people development will make finance roles richer and more rewarding. As I mentioned, the competency is very important. The other one is, of course, a focus on quality teaching, because I know that we have invited many of our teaching institutions, and as professional bodies, we are a little different from the universities where they do their own teaching. We have the private educational institutions that are doing the teaching, and the quality teaching is very important, especially in the core areas and also on the technology areas. So we may need to look at, because today we see why students are attracted to go into the university. It may be that due to the teaching that is being done there, the fantastic buildings that they are having, the various provisions that they give. So we may need to look at that in order that we will be able to attract the younger generation into the professional sector. So we have to deliver training and support in wider skill sets, particularly mid-career accountants. This may involve building effective partnerships with other providers who can deliver impactful training opportunities. So this is something that we need to take into account, because today the launch of the new syllabus really requires the dedication and commitment of our educational institutions, because you are the people who will really be able to make it successful. I must also want to tell you a little about at the time that we were incorporated, there was a debate in Parliament. And I went through this, and I found that the then Minister of Higher Education, the late Professor Vishwavarnapal, I think he made a very valuable contribution, but I do not think very many have taken any much notice of it. So I thought that it would be appropriate time to look at what he has said, because it is really very meaningful, especially at this time. So he has said whatever institution we establish should not be treated as a second-rate institution. It has to be on par with universities of the country. Universities alone cannot solve the problem. Now this is something that a lot of the people forget. Universities alone cannot solve the problem. And of course, today we have so many private educational institutions doing foreign degrees, which we can solve if we look at what he says. The expansion of non-university tertiary institutions can tackle the problem of this, what we are facing, of access to responsible to the demands of the labor market. Tertiary education has therefore become an important agent of social change and an instrument for the realization of the aspirations of a society. Non-university tertiary institutions constitute an alternative sector, an alternative to the conventional university. So I think we also need to look at this very carefully. So because we are non-university tertiary institutions which are giving a qualification similar to universities. This is not, I don't think even the universities would like to state this, but this is something that was stated by the then minister. And so he said that today, that at that time, that they had 131,000 qualified to enter the university, but the university could give only 20,000. That was in 2009. Today, I think we have very many more than that. I think universities have increased to 40,000. But the others, if one has to do, it will have to look at to these non-university tertiary educational institutions. So what he said is, in order to expand, we need more and more non-university tertiary institutions specializing in employment-oriented projects. I think the president of the OPA and the others are, the other members of the council are present here. They should take note of this, because this is a very serious matter. They have many who are members, the non-university tertiary institutions. So why not we look at this and see as to how we can serve the youth of this country by giving education which will bring them not only the professional education, professional skills, but also employment which will really take them to the correct area. So this is something that is of great importance that we could look at. So I must also especially thank our consultants team led by Dr. Nuan, because they've been working very hard. And I know that I don't have to speak too much on that, because they are going to speak on it, but they are really going to take us to the new age. Dr. Nuan Gunaratna, Professor Dilipa, who have been playing a very lead role in this, they are going to take us to the next stage. They are going to put us ahead or in par with any other professional body that is there. So that's what is required. And I must thank them. I must also thank our academic council. Now this academic council is headed by Professor Ho Yu-ki, who is present here, and also many of our academic council members who are both local and foreign, many with very special experience and exposure, who have helped us a great deal. So I think that's something that has helped us. Their comments to the consultants have enabled us to add and make it much more stronger. So we are very thankful. We had many meetings with the academic committee, so I must thank Professor Ho for the clear role that he has played in taking this academic council. So these are some of the important things, but you also know that our own staff have to play a major role. Before our own staff, our council, the guidance and the approvals that they have given has enabled us to take this forward. On the staff area, management area, I must say that we had maybe a major problem where our director education left us at a very crucial time when we were doing, but of course I know that our consultants were there, that there would have been no problem, but we had to take it over from our side and handle, and I must especially thank Ms. Madhumi, who was the director examinations, who was able to support and get all these things done, and I'm very thankful to her for doing that, of course supported by our education division. There are two where we had new staff who came in, Ms. Kanchana, but we had to have someone who knew the system and helped us to do this. So I think she worked closely with our consultants, and that's how we were able to do this. I must also, I think you already saw that we are now in the new age doing the online education, but today we may also have to go into the hybrid where we can combine it and do it. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, I must tell you, our education examinations were conducted uninterrupted. You might wonder how we achieved it, because a lot of them said this is the end of the education field. But we changed ourselves. We went digital. The examinations, the education, everything was done digital. We fortunately had worked with Pearson VUE. We were the first to go into the digital examination side, the computer-based testing, and this greatly helped us with the COVID-19 pandemic to change and provide the opportunity to the students. So the students were able to continue their education uninterrupted, and this was a great achievement that we have done, and I'm sure that this is the way that Sri Lanka will have to go forward. I know that we are in a very difficult situation, but the professional accountants can play a lead role. Today there was a discussion that was really where we had to go and make some representations on the power sector. If you look at what has happened, it's all financial matters that have happened. The real proper costing has to be done. Cost records has to be done. And I think even a cost audit needs to be done if they want to really see that there is efficiency and effectiveness in their generation and to stop the wastages and others. Then on the financial area, no money. They are really in debt. So how they can overcome this? Are they, if they are producing something and unable to do it, they are selling at a lower price. So that's why professionally I think we need to get involved. Now we have found that politics cannot take this country forward. We have to come forward. We have to have the proper systems, the proper procedures. The professionals are the people who can do this. So we have to, of course, work ethically. We have to make our contribution, and I'm sure that if we do that, we will be able to take the country forward. So if you are going to do that, then we need to change the education system. As you know, this is the 5th time that CMA Sri Lanka has changed, revised its syllabus. So this shows the modern way that we are working. Every 5 years that we are changing. Last year we did it even before the 5th year. We found that digitalization is very essential. So we did a revision in between. So that's how we are working as professional bodies. This is not only for our own body, I'm sure the chartered accountants and other professional bodies globally are doing that. That's how we are providing our services to the youth of this country. So this country can go forward only if they digitalize. We have to now go to the new age. If we go the traditional way, we will never succeed. So we are showing them the way. This new syllabus that we are launching, we want to show them the way how this country can be taken forward. How the other educational institutions should maybe bring their syllabuses in line. The universities sometimes are very slow. Sometimes they are controlled by maybe some central body. They must remove these things and give autonomy to all these educational institutions. The Colombo University, 150 years old. Don't you think that they would be one of the best universities? But maybe if they are going to be controlled by another place, which also controls maybe very small institutions, I don't think that is the correct thing to do. So we need change in this country. If we are to go forward, we need to have change for the betterment of the society. Because one of the things that the CMA has done is talking of the societal costs. All inefficiencies, all wastages, all corruption are today met by the society. So we have to work towards ridding this in order that the society will benefit. Today this new syllabus we are introducing especially to benefit the society, the benefit the youth of this country. So I am sure that what we are doing, people must look at what we are doing As I told you, I was reading what late Professor Vishwa Avarnapala said in 2009, but I don't think the universities would like to take a look at it. But we from the professional side, the OPA, need to take the importance of the professionals, how their products will be able to meet the job market, meet the needs of the employers. So I'm sure that this new syllabus that we are launching today, the 2023-2027 syllabus, will certainly be a new direction, but it is not that we are not going to do any revisions in between. If there are any sort of changes that are necessary, we will also do that. But it's a very tedious, lengthy process. Do not think that it's something that you can just do overnight, but needs a lot of hard work and dedication, and of course the intellectual capacity. And I'm very happy that our consultants who have done this are people of eminence, and they have been able to put a very good thing. So let me once again thank all of you. As I told you, today's situation was not very good, but I can see here that you all have really withered the storms and come here, and I'm sure this is a grand success for us, and this launch of new syllabus will also be a grand success. And let me thank everyone who contributed and all those who are present here, and that what we are launching will be something that will change the systems in this country. Thank you.